Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. I wanted to come to you with the last part of the library haul that I did, it was a week and a half ago, I think. And I've been giving you bits and pieces of it here and there. And this is the last chunk. Well, it'll be most of the last chunk. Some of the last chunk is upstairs in the upper room, and the girls are all asleep, so I don't want to wake them up and go get it. But I'll show the last chunk to you later. But anyway, I'm going to show you a handful of books here, and hopefully you like these. Show you what I picked up, and then in the very near future, I have some more book hauls because my good buddy Todd at the Bursting Bookcase or Bookshelf, he sent me 2 boxes of books. He's been cleaning his bookshelves, and he has kindly sent me some, and I'm going to show those off what he sent me because they were a real treat when I opened them up yesterday morning. So let's go ahead and get through the last of these library hauls. I thought they were a pretty good stack of books, and again, if you didn't watch my other hauls before this, the last couple hauls, the public library they had been going through their books, but she actually had somebody come and donate a ton of books. An older person in the community had passed away, and his son was cleaning out his books, and so he was donating to the library. And she had went through and picked some stuff for the library shelves that would help our library circulation. And then she called me, or didn't call me, but when I went in, she goes, "Hey, I gotta show you something. I gotta, get rid of some books here. We gotta donate some books, but I wanted you to go through them first and see if there's anything you like." And so I was going through them, and yeah, I found some. Why wouldn't I? So let me show you what I found. So the first one is Arthur Conan Doyle: A Life in Letters, and this is edited by John Lellenberg, Daniel Stashauer, and Charles Foley. And this looked pretty interesting. I know a lot of you like these type of books. This is not necessarily something that's like right up my alley, but I have been wanting to. I've got a book on the shelves back here of Arthur Conan Doyle's mysteries with Sherlock Holmes, and so I've been wanting to dip into those, and I thought this would be interesting to put in there as well, or to read and put up on the shelf with it. This is from the Penguin Press, New York, 2007, and I'll read the back to you. It says Morley's Hotel, London, 1903. I don't think you need have any fears about Sherlock. I am not conscious of any failing powers, and my work is not less conscientious than of old. I don't suppose any man has ever sacrificed so much money to preserve his ideal of art as I have done. Witness my suppression of Girdlestone, my refusal to serialize a duet, and my refusal to republish in a book the Round the Fire series of stories. But I have done no short Sherlock Holmes stories for 7 or 8 years, and I don't see why I should not have another go at them and earn 3 times as much money as I can by any other form of work. I have finished the first one. The plot, by the way, was given to me by Jean, and it is a rare good one. You will find that Holmes was never dead, and that he is now very much alive. And so, coming from letters of Arthur Conan Doyle, and so I think that'll be pretty interesting. The next one, and it really goes along with my world history haul that I did the other day from Books Revisited, goes with that world history theme. This is Victoria's Daughters by Gerald M. Packard, and this looked really good. I was kind of excited to pick this one up. Goes right with my my World War I class. I talk about how Queen Victoria married off all of her kids to the royal and grandkids to the royal families, and how it was kind of interesting to look at in World War I when all the countries go to war. Everybody's related to everybody, and so that's kind of an interesting take on stuff. But this is from St. Martin's Griffin, out of New York, and it is a 1998 book. So I'll read the back cover to you. It says 5 women who shared one of the most extraordinary and privileged sisterhoods of all time. Vicky, Alice, Helena, Louise, and Beatrice were historically unique sisters. born to a sovereign who ruled over a quarter of the earth's people and who gave her name to an era, Queen Victoria. Two of these princesses would themselves produce children of immense consequence. All five would face the social restrictions and familial machinations borne by 19th century women of far less exalted class. Researched at the houses and palaces of its five subjects in London, Scotland, Berlin, Darmstadt, and Ottawa, Victoria's Daughters examines a generation of royal women who were dominated by their mother, married off as much for political advantage as for love, and passed over entirely when their brother, Bertie, ascended to the throne. Packard, an experienced biographer whose last book chronicled Victoria's final days, provides valuable insights into their complex, often tragic lives as Jeannes of Europe's most influential dynasty and daughters of their own very troubled times. And so that just sounded really interesting. I'm pretty excited to read that. It's got some nice, black and white photos in the middle of the family. Let you get to know more of the royal family. So anyway, I look forward to reading that. The next couple go with March Mystery Madness, and I am not going to get to them. I wish I could. I'm having troubles getting to the stuff that I set aside to read. But I thought they were nice additions to the collection anyway. A couple of these have got to be cleaned up just a little, but that won't be an issue. But Agatha Christie's Murder at the Manor, and this includes Crooked House, Ordeal by Innocence, and the Seven Dials Mystery. And I have never read Agatha Christie. I have one on my March Mystery Madness checklist that I might try before the end of the month, or I'm going to try to get to. But this is a nice thick volume. It's got 3 different books in it, so I thought that was a good pickup. It is from it's from Mystery Guild out of Garden City, New York, and it was this volume. Sorry, try that again. This volume, it's just giving the original dates. It doesn't say when this one was published, because this is not I don't believe this is a 1959 copy. This is a lot newer than that. So it doesn't have the date that I was wanting. But anyway, doesn't matter. That was a nice pickup. And then this is really cool. And this will be the second half, or the very, very last chunk of this book haul is from the Folio Society. I have absolutely no books from the Folio Society in my collection, so these are the very first ones. And this is Agatha Christie's The Complete Miss Marple Short Stories. And so I thought that was really neat. I've never had any of these. Super great condition. You can see the cover there. That's really neat. Some poison, a knife, a gun, and an arrow. But this comes from London, the Folio Society, and it's from 2003. And I'm really looking forward to dipping into these. But I got a whole series of these Folio Societies. I mean, awesome condition. Several of them were in the wrappers still, and you guys that collect books know how expensive those are. So I thought that was kind of a coup. I thought that was just a great pickup for absolutely free. The next couple, I already own them. They're replacement copies. I just got to dig the paperback out and donate the paperback. But this is one of my favorite books of all time on George Washington. It's His Excellency George Washington by Joseph Ellis, and it's a hardback book. And like I said, it's going to replace my paperback copy upstairs. So I'm real excited about that. It is from Alfred A. Knopf out in New York, and it's a 2004 book. But I was real excited to add a hardback to the collection. Another one of my favorite books, Michael Crichton's Timeline, and I got it in hardback. And so I actually dug this paperback out already. I donated it to the little library box, and there's a picture of Michael Crichton on the back. This is a really cool story about going back in time to the medieval time period, and just really neat story. It's one of my favorites. Alfred A. Knopf, New York, 1999. They also made a movie out of it, and I know not everybody enjoyed the movie, but I liked it, and so nice replacement copy. So 2 books left in this smaller book haul. The next one is The Teapot Dome Scandal, How Big Oil Brought the Harding White House and Tried to Steal the Country by Leighton McCartney. And so I have nothing on this subject. So this is going to be a brand new one for me. I know very little about the subject. So I should learn quite a bit from this. I'm kind of excited about that. It's from Random House out of New York, and it is a 2008 book. And I'll read the inside cover to you. It says, mix hundreds of millions of dollars in petroleum reserves, rapacious oil barons, and crooked politicians, under-the-table payoffs, murder, suicide, and blackmail, White House cronyism, and the excesses of the Jazz Age. The result? The granddaddy of all American political scandals, Teapot Dome. In the Teapot Dome scandal, acclaimed author Leighton McCartney tells the amazing, complex, and at times ribald story of how Big Oil handpicked Warren G. Harding, an obscure Ohio senator, to serve as our 23rd president. Harding and his so-called oil cabinet made it possible for the oil men to secure vast fuel reserves that had been set aside for wartime use by the U.S. Navy. In exchange, the oil men paid off senior government officials, bribed newspaper publishers, and covered the GOP campaign debt. When news of the scandal finally emerged, the consequences were disastrous for the nation and for the principals in the plot to bilk the taxpayers. Harding's administration was hamstrung. Americans' confidence in their government plummeted. Secretary of the Interior Albert Fall was indicted, convicted, and incarcerated, and others implicated in the affair suffered similarly dire fates. Stonewalling by members of Harding's circle kept a lid on the story. Witnesses developed faulty memories or fled the country, and important documents went missing. But contemporary records newly made available to McCartney reveal a shocking revelatory picture of just how far-reaching the affair was and how high the stakes and how powerful the conspirators. In giving us a gimlet-eyed but endlessly entertaining portrait of the men and women who made the Tempest of Teapot Dome, Leighton McCartney again displays his gift for faithfully rendering history with the narrative touch of an accomplished novelist. And so there's a picture of our author. That'll be pretty interesting. It goes right along with all my other nonfiction stuff. And the last one in the book haul, a little bit more world history here, would have went well with the book haul the other day. But this is The Lion and the Unicorn, Gladstone versus Disraeli by Richard Aldous. And I don't know anything about this subject. I am a total blank slate, so this will be good stuff for me. It's got a bunch of blurbs on the back, so we'll go to the inside cover here. First, let's see, comes from W.W. Norton and Company out of New York, 2006 book, but I'll read the inside cover to you. It says, London, England, 1835. 2 dazzlingly gifted young men meet for the first time over dinner. Brilliant, highly strung William Gladstone is already the rising star of England in the 1830s. Flamboyant, witty Benjamin Disraeli is a notorious society novelist about to take the first steps into politics. Thus begins the intense rivalry between 2 men destined to be the greatest leaders of the Victorian age. In this dramatic dual biography, Richard Aldous, whom the Literary Review has called a narrative historian of great verve and dash, tells the exhilarating story of his tempestuous relationship that would define England during the 19th century. The personality contrasts of these 2 giants could not have been more striking. Eton and Oxford-educated Gladstone was a child of the English establishment, yet even his greatest allies were at a loss to explain his late-night excursions into the streets of London seeking out prostitutes to rescue them, and the remorseful self-flagellation that came afterward. Disraeli, as a Jew, was an outsider, yet he charmed society women, not least Queen Victoria, who adored him, and was aggressively patriotic and the greatest master of the English language ever to have held the office of Prime Minister. While personal hatred added spice to political rivalry, Gladstone and Disraeli were engaged in a turbulent battle of ideas. As Aldous shows, the issues they faced resemble those of our own time, including wars of religion and ideology between Christians and Muslims, liberal internationalism, humanitarianism, and realpolitik. The pair would come to define the terms of the 19th century debate over constitutional liberty, the rights of the individual, national identity, and imperial expansion. In their struggles on these and many other questions, they wanted supremacy not just in Parliament, but also among the new generation of politically engaged citizens. The 19th century world was electrified by the thrilling confrontation, and the Times of London compared the rivals to medieval champions from a Walter Scott novel. To others, they were like the lion and the unicorn fighting for their crown. Aldous relates this clash of mighty opposites with novelistic vividness. With the lion and the unicorn, this epic showdown was found a worthy champion, and the result is a triumphant work of history and scholarship from one of Britain's most promising young historians. And there's that young historian, Richard Aldous. Anyway, it sounded like it was an interesting book, nice piece of nonfiction to fill in some gaps for me, because as I've told you, world history is one of those areas where I need to, just dive right in. So anyway, BookTube, this is the latest chunk of books. As I said, I have a couple boxes worth to show you this next week. So hope you've enjoyed this. Hope everybody's staying warm as the weather kind of, goes back and forth. Yesterday was bright and sunny and was really nice here, but it was really windy, so it was a little bit cool. I hope you find warmth, and I hope you find reading. So anyway, as always, happy reading.